Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a lovely piece from Habring of Austria. This is the Erwin, a jumping second dress watch with a white lacquer dial. The basic model has been around since 2016. Several different case and dial variants have been available, of which this is one of the most classical. So in stainless steel, the watch measures 38.5 millimeters in diameter, 10.6 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, a wonderfully compact 45.9 millimeters with a very traditional and versatile 20 millimeter spacing between the lug horns. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters circumference, and you can see it's nice and compact, flat enough to fit underneath a dress cuff of any kind, and also narrow enough across the wrist that I could still wear this watch where my wrist is small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. It's nice and light, there's not too much to it, and in steel with sapphire caseback and top crystal, it's a very light, wieldy watch. It feels sporty, even if it has the form of a dress watch, and the stainless steel certainly contributes to that. We have a wonderful nubuck style leather with a delightful, velvety, oily feel, not in the sense that it leaves a residue on your hand, but in the sense that it feels wonderfully silky smooth. You can see it's a bonded strap so that the back, which is a conventional calfskin, bonds to the top without a stitching. It creates a seamless upscale look, and then you can appreciate that this is a minimalist watch and it has a matching minimalist pin buckle. The case is very vintage in fashion. It has a narrow case band, squared off lug ends, and strap tool apertures, acknowledging that oftentimes most all-arounders, neither high dress watches nor hardcore sports watches, would be equipped with strap tool apertures in the middle of the 20th century. It was not uncommon to see this on watches that were even somewhat formal. The timepiece furthers its vintage chops with an unsigned crown that has a nice sharp knurling to it and a wonderful ratchet wheel click that feels and sounds like money. The watch has the ambiance of something more expensive, both in terms of how it looks and how it feels through the fingertips. The bezel is shallow conical. It has a flange abutting the sapphire, and then we have an enamel-like white lacquered dial, so multiple layers, applications, curing, clear coating, and then it ends with beautiful blue Breguet-style Arabic numerals and then blued hands to match. Now, I've seen a lot of deadbeat seconds watches over the years, and they all have their own character and charm to them. This one is minimalist, going with a vintage-style no-date dial, sticking to three hands and making the most of its showpiece complication. It really does have a wonderful lyrical cadence to it, because you've got the 1 hertz deadbeat second, and then you flip it over and you have an escapement beating away at 4 hertz or 8 beats per second. You can see the underlying mechanism that watchmaker and co-founder Richard Habring has devised for this watch. Now, they do as much as they can. It is an Austrian watch, and when they can't actually make a part in-house at Habring, they tend to source an Austrian solution, and so many of the elements, including assortment components here, are actually sourced inside of Austria. Of course, the watches are made in relatively small volumes. You can see that the serial number between the lugs attests to that. Now, we do have jumping seconds and hacking seconds, so we have the ability to set the watch and read the watch very precisely. On the reverse side, you'll notice this 3/4 style plate. That is the legacy of the Valjoux 7750. Richard Habring has used the essential train architecture from the barrel to the escapement of the 7750 while discarding the chronograph and automatic winding elements. So they call this the caliber A11S, and of course it features the elements of the 7750, but also unique finishing signatures, wonderful satination, a tri-spoke bridge on which the deadbeat seconds wheel is mounted. You can see that there's a lovely engine turning, black polished screws, blued screws both at the same time, an attractive satination on the train wheels. You can also see that what's quite attractive here is that there is a separate colored bridge. There's a gilded bridge for the actual escape anchor. So that's a nice element of detail. And you can see that here there are also golden gilded screws. So we have black polished, gilded, and blued screws all in one. It has a 48-hour power reserve and it pivots on 21 joules. And though the architecture may be Swiss, almost all of this watch, right down to the small parts of the movement, are made in Austria. And it's 30 meters water resistant. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.